Yay! We're live. Hi, everyone. All right. So, welcome to Doing the Damn Thing. My name is Nicole.
I'm Geraldine.
I'm Lauren.
And that's Lauren's. Okay, so this is our first time actually doing a live where we're sitting in front of our laptop. So bear with us because we're still learning a few things. We decided why not share some business advice because we're all in quarter one or maybe quarter three, depending on how your calendar looks. So yeah, we just want to talk to you guys, give you some case studies, give you some things that we've learned over the last few months, all that good stuff. So do you guys want to start?
Yeah, so I guess we haven't really caught up before planning this live. How's everything been for you two?
Yeah. Okay. So I was trying to find our video here. So it's been pretty good. So I picked up. So in addition to the magazine and this show, I do a lot of freelance work. So I picked up a couple more clients, and it's just been a learning process. I feel like with every new client, you learn like a new tool to use, a new system to use. So I just feel like, wow, I'm like a sponge soaking it all in because I'm like, all right, cool. I don't know how to do that, but I will in a week, you know?
Are you learning things that you can probably apply to your business?
Yeah, so I'm starting to use Smarter Q, which is another scheduling device for social media, but it's more in depth and it gives you a lot more analytics. So I think it's really great for like bigger clients, like if you have like a pretty large fan base, and then also learn how to use Tailwind. And then I love planning out, like, cause if you guys don't know, I'm like more operational. I'm more like, I like planning hashtags. So getting better at that, as having saved hashtags on whatever sharing device you're using, you can save them, and then also saving them on your phone. So that way you're not thinking of like the hashtags you need to use. Yeah. Cause I'm not on the fly.
I think you just said a lot of cool, important things, and you said it without a lot of context. So, maybe if people are just coming onto our channel right now, or they haven't gotten to know exactly what it is that you do, but, maybe if you could say a little bit more about what you do, what these clients are, because I think you kind of opened more of your business up in the last few months. And then the scheduling apps, do you mean for your calendar, and what were you using before? So you actually just said quite a bit.
I did. I'm really good at like bullet pointing. There we go. So Smarter Q and Tailwind, again, are scheduling, I guess they're not apps, they're scheduling tools. So if you are familiar with like Hootsuite and things along those lines, but they're a little bit more in depth. Smarter Q, you can link up a lot of your social media channels.
And you're saying Smarter Q?
Yeah, okay. Smarter Q. And like you spell out Q like a Q, like Q-U.
Oh, Q-U-E.
Yeah, Q. And so I really enjoy it. And then Tailwind is only for Instagram and Pinterest.
Oh, those are important. That's good to know.
I didn't realize this. I heard it through the grapevine, basically, because I'm not a Pinterest fan. I don't understand it. I only used it for my wedding, so I don't really understand how people use it for their business. I feel like you have to like make cakes or something, and then Pinterest would be for you. But I guess people use Pinterest a lot more for SEO reasons, and maybe you might know that. So I'm just like, okay. So learning really how to use those devices to schedule out people's posts, to schedule and sorry, it's an ad. We got all excited, guys, but an ad popped up. We didn't even know ads pop up on these things.
Wow.
Yeah, there we go. And so I'm learning how to use these things, and both of them actually help you figure out the hashtags that are best for your business. They sort of do have like a component where they'll show you how many people actually use that hashtags, and they'll like break it down to like bad, good, really good, so that way if you are really trying to get a lot more impressions and reach in your social media, so you're trying to cast a wide net, you're not like line fishing, you're just fishing like with a wide net. It's really good to see which hashtags would be beneficial for you. And I like that, so that way you're not like sitting there thinking, doing the hashtags, or having to do hashtag research, which is something I've done for a client, which was really like, it got me thinking about the magazine. I'm like, I should probably do hashtag research for the magazine. That's probably beneficial. And then I did it for doing the damn thing. So learning a lot of new things.
Yeah. Well, you said
Sorry,
hashtag research, so I think, and then you also talked to or indicated SEO towards Geraldine. I feel like hashtags and SEO have things in common, and then whatever, I forget what we were talking about.
Definitely. I mean, I'm a Pinterest user. I haven't been active.
Really?
I haven't been that active lately, but I've built up kind of a following on Pinterest. It's based on all of the different interests that I have. So there's like crystals, there's quotes, there's all these different things. And it's just really interesting to see who will repost your stuff.
Yeah.
And I have been using hashtags as a strategy to promote a little bit more.
Of your Pinterest or in general?
My Pinterest posts.
So using hashtags on Pinterest.
Yeah. And I mean, at one point, I don't know about now because it's been a while since I've looked, but at one point, Pinterest was considered the second or third search engine. Because
I can see that.
Different people are always searching for photos of things or planning different events, and they're looking for other references. I personally use it from a graphic design perspective. If I'm looking for a minimalistic logo, I want some ideas, or a business card design, I'll type in whatever descriptive term I want for the look, and I'll just look through as reference so I can get ideas of different layouts. Or sometimes a lot of companies that have pre-built templates that you can purchase. They'll showcase on Pinterest too in hopes of increasing their business. I've always been interested in how to use Pinterest as a business, as selling product, because it seems like it could be pretty lucrative. You just have to know like what hashtags and what the overall strategy is. But I like it. I wish I actually wish I had more time to use it.
Yeah, I think the main thing or a big piece of that is being able to post videos on there too, because that connects with YouTube, which is definitely the second. I think probably Pinterest was the third, right? If it was up there in the top three. But we don't really talk about Pinterest. So look, that was surprise content.
I know.
If you know about Pinterest, leave us a link or something down below, something that we can learn about it. I don't even know where to learn about Pinterest.
I'm still learning because I feel like for me, I'm the type of user for Pinterest that I use it for one specific thing. So I guess I just need more case studies of like, how can you engage someone to use it year round?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I'm going to use it for like, this is one project, here it is, and then I'm done. It's not like Instagram or Twitter where I'm like scrolling through it every day, all day.
Well, you can use it for your magazine by doing like hashtag Latina lifestyle and like posting articles or links to articles with like just the thumb print or thumbnail of it. And then you can just start to build up your whole board of like articles based on different subjects. So you could have that all separated. And then for marketing, I think like showing your different clients and just having like use it as a reference card or something, I guess.
Surprisingly, what does well for me on my Pinterest is putting my how-to videos. I do a lot of tech and how-to on the computer. So I have a playlist of that, and people actually, I guess they're searching for that on Pinterest.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's DIY. Do it yourself.
A
lot of do it yourself thing. So yeah, that makes sense. That was probably the last time I looked was for my sister's wedding.
Yeah.
Now I'm like remembering all the things I like about Pinterest. So you can create boards and you can have other people collaborate.
Yeah.
So one of my friends years ago, she created like a board of all cool cafes to look at. And it actually got a lot of hits, and people would go to it and you post a photo of the cafe you're at and what you like about it. So her and I were doing that for a while. I'm trying to think what else. A lot of designers and creatives use it for mood boards.
Yeah.
So that's another use.
Okay, so much things I have to learn about Pinterest. But quickly going back to hashtags is what, like a little side note, because I don't want us to talk forever and ever about hashtags. But if you're really trying to get your posts, especially on Instagram, to be like the top post or something, like I know there's a lot of like popular hashtags. But if you're going to use a hashtag like, let's say, like Motivational Monday, which has millions of photos, your photo is not going to get to the top. You can add it to your 20-something hashtags you're going to use, but you want to find hashtags that are similar to like Motivational Monday and put those like on the top, so that way you have a combination of all of those hashtags, but you don't want your photo to have 10 hashtags that have a million photos connected to it, because it's not going to get to the top.
You just get lost.
Yeah, you just get lost in the crowd.
That's actually really similar to SEO.
Yeah.
So everybody has a different approach to it. There's some companies that say, okay, we need to attack all of the top hashtags or the low ones. What we do is we do a high and low approach. So that way you're more likely for Google to understand what your niche is and then direct you to the right people.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like building a picture for Google. So I guess in this case for Pinterest, for Instagram, or wherever you're doing your hashtags at.
Everything has hashtags now.
Yep, even Facebook now.
Yeah. So, well, I was going to take that thread and go, okay, so we were talking about using the mood boards as a way to work with clients. And now that you're getting new clients and kind of working, you say you're kind of really digging in there. And then obviously we have worked with clients too. What are some of the tools that you use to get to understand what your clients, what their goals are, their desires, or what their aesthetic? I mean, you do deal with aesthetics because social media, you're representing them. So what are some of the ways that you get to know your clients that way?
So I think it's always good to have those conversations with your clients to begin with, and tell them that you're going to have those conversations before you start the work, because sometimes clients just want you to start the work and then they sort of get like a little like upset because what they have in their mind is not what you have in your mind. And I always go back to like, no one's a mind reader unless we're like an X-Man. So I'm sorry, we're not.
You can't read minds.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You
so
can't.
sorry.
Yeah, we can't.
Yeah. We wish we could, but we can't. And so having those conversations in the beginning, and especially because I really focus on their social media aspect, they might have like a business consultant or a marketing consultant or PR person I'm working with, and I just handle this one part. I really try to focus on like, okay, what's your bigger brand? And sometimes the marketing consultant just gives that to me, like what's the client's bigger brand. And then I get more into the logistical parts. Like I try to make sure I get like the client's like color code, the feel that they want, asking them the adjectives that they want people to feel when they come into their business. So therefore I need to represent that on social media. People that are in their field, which is always a funny question to ask people. I don't know what you guys say. When you ask someone like, who's your competitor? And they're like, well, they either want to be like, no one's their competitor because they're just so different from everyone else. Or they're like, well, they list all these people, which is great, but they list people that they might be at like 1,000 followers, and they list people that are like world renowned and are like 1 million followers. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably where you want to go, but who's your competitor like today? Like if someone doesn't go to you and they go like next door, who lives next door? Like, and that's like something I don't know if you guys have dealt with when with clients, they just, everyone wants to think they're unique, and it's like, not really.
Well, okay, so let's break it down here, because our show really is about entrepreneurship, like helping entrepreneurs to understand, right? We talk a lot from a coach perspective because we are coaches, but we're also, we're also clients.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's on that point. Like Geraldine and I have had a few times where people have showed up at our door. A lot of times, actually. I've been definitely approached multiple times where people think their business is great, and it's great, and they think that they're very unique, like you said, and they want to inspire us to work with them. So they say that they haven't done any work. There's no groundwork created, no business plan really, but just a great idea. You come to us and you say, we have people come to us and say, so how about you do the marketing for free, and we're going to be the best company ever, so we're going to give you a portion of it. So, I mean, let's just bring it down a notch, because I'm like, okay, that's great. I definitely don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, and I don't want people to feel that their ideas, and because there's a lot of great things about that right now. Like that's a true entrepreneur if you're trying to make things happen, like out of nothing, where you're showing up and you're finding ways and you're building partnerships, right? You're building partnerships and you're like looking for that mastermind essentially, right? Delegating, understanding you're not good at this, you need help with that. So definitely a lot of great things about that. And the so there's that one, the hyperlific entrepreneur is what I'm talking about, right? So we have that one, and then we have one that says that their target audience, everybody's their target audience, because everybody can buy their product.
Yeah, from 5 to 80.
Yeah. You all will buy that electric toothbrush, which it is possible for 5 to 80, but the point is there's people that are going to be more apt to want to buy it or not. Yeah. And then let's see, what are some other hyperlific? Well, when you're doing your financials, it's really easy to make yourself feel really good about how much money you're going to make in the first year or the third year or the fifth year. And there's a lot of unexpected costs and expenses that I think people tend to overlook. So I'm saying this, I don't want to be negative at all. I'm saying this in a way of like us having worked with so many entrepreneurs, we have a really special place, I think, that we get to, because it's like how psychologists get to hear everybody's stories and that their dirty secrets and stuff. Us as entrepreneurship coaches or, working directly with business owners, we get to hear and see a lot of the things. And that's why I think it's our goal with the show to kind of share some of these things and experiences.
And speaking on the different profiles that you gave, like the first one who comes to you and says, I have the best idea, you guys do the marketing, we'll get the clients or whatever, that's cool. But one thing there is to realize in that is building a business takes a lot of research. I mean, we're in the field of marketing, there's a flood of marketing people everywhere, and everyone has kind of their special thing and the way that they deliver that. But we know that, that's like kind of open knowledge. But if you have a particular product that you're looking to sell, like something that you wrap cords around, like how do you really know that people want something that manual? Maybe they want something that's motorized that already exists, or there's all this different research that needs to be done. So I guess if you are a marketing person and you're considering going into partnership with someone with a sweat equity type of deal, maybe then your role is like, okay, I think this person is like really great and I believe in them, and I'm actually going to do research before accepting this situation.
Like almost offering the research as like, okay, I don't know if I am going to be okay with your deal, but what I'll do is I'll do some market research to give you a kind of more realistic.
And then oftentimes you'll find like 5 other people that do it and maybe they're successful. Yeah. But I mean, I think that if you're considering that, it's really important to do that due diligence, because that person can easily become ripped off by somebody else who says, oh yeah, I'll do this with you, and then they say, oh,
that's
just
true.
pay me this, or
well, let's change that actually to the advice to the entrepreneur. I think is hey, you think you have a great idea, awesome, go prove it, come to me with some as somebody that you're approaching, just like any other kind of partnership. Like in a partnership world, when an investor or like a venture capitalist or an angel investor, when they're going in to invest in a business, they're not just going to be like, yeah, here's my money. Like they want you to present a business plan. They want you to actually do a presentation. I want to see that you've done some market research. I want to see, even maybe not have a logo and a website, but have something like that's on its way. Because that's just like anything else. I mean, it's the same as if you were to hire an employee. You don't want your employee to just like, wait, is this going to make sense? Well, I mean, like you expect people to be putting in like their amount of work. You don't get something for nothing, and nothing doesn't mean money that it's free, but it means if it's not money, it's sweat equity. It's whatever resources, etc.
I kind of smile and a little bit laugh, because remember that one time when we were at our old office in downtown Oakland? So check this out, guys. Someone walked in and asked us if they can present their business to us. I don't know if Lauren remembers.
I do, of course. I'm thinking about this. This was one of the many times.
He comes in, and it was a service-based business. I won't say what type of business it is, but he had like crumpled up piece of paper with like writing on it, and he was basically saying, this is the plan, and like showing us all this information. And like,
but he didn't come in asking us if he could present his business to us. He came in asking if he could meet with us, which we assumed we were meeting with him to pitch him.
Yeah,
but he came in and he started to pitch us.
Yeah, with like, I guess he kind of did research in his own way based on his experience, but it was just so weird.
Like she said,
crumpled piece of paper. Like you could tell there's like coffee stains on the paper. And don't get me wrong, like there are people who have written on a napkin and
maybe gazillions.
Yeah, but it was just the presentation was like not.
Well, presentation's everything, right?
Not what it should have been. If it's a partner,
Yeah, and I think as going off of that, like if you're going to look for people to delegate your work to, like you want to meet Geraldine and have them do some work for you guys, like marketing work. Even if you don't have a good idea about what kind of stuff your business needs or anything like that, at least have like questions in mind.
Yeah.
And the questions can be like, I don't know, what do I need to think about with my business? My business is based here, but I want to be growing in this city. What do I need to do to get there? And that way it also helps you figure out like if the people that you're going to be working with can answer those questions for you.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know. I feel like I feel called to give a lesson of some sort, or like something that's practical.
How about if we list out like what would be the ideal situation for someone to come to you and have you agree to be partners with them on something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What would
that look like?
Yeah.
Well, I will say for one, on my part, it became easier to, like all presentations aside, it became easier to even consider being a partner once I was more solid, which doesn't mean this is just for us personally, right? Because I already have a business and we're working on that. So that was my primary focus. Mm-hmm. Now that, things are stabilized and such, I'm more open. I would be more open to be working with an earlier stage startup than I would have maybe like 10 years ago or 5 years ago even. Yeah. So I guess that's a one for me.
Yeah. So, I like that. That's a really big one. If someone were to approach me and let's say approach me to do some kind of like client work for them, is I guess in my ideal setting is I want to make sure that what they want is something I can give. So going off what Lauren says, I have to be pretty solid, but they have to also be pretty solid in what they're trying to give,
what they're looking
know
what you're asking for.
Yeah, know what you're asking for, because I've had sometimes people like they're over coffee, over like cocktail hour, that they want to do a partnership and they're all like excited about it, but they don't necessarily know how they want to work with me. And I'm just like, well, I can't read your mind, and I can tell you what I can do, but I'm not going to promise you like something I cannot deliver on. And so you just do like this circle over and over again of like, you want to work together, but you guys don't know how. And I feel like if you are going in that and you're with someone and you're just doing this circle, then that you guys are just meant to be like cool colleagues or like maybe friends or anything like that. Maybe just not.
Or maybe
partners.
It's just not time right now.
Yeah.
It could be in the future, but not at the moment.
Yeah.
Two things come to mind for me. The first one is having super clear expectations. Like if we go into this partnership together, what do we expect with one another? So that's something that Lauren and I spent a long time on. I want to say we spent like at least 6 to 9 months just figuring that out and what it really means. Just kind of looking at, what are the expectations? What could possibly happen in the future? And how do we deal with that? And the second thing is, even though I'm connected to marketing and I know how it works, if I'm doing something, I don't really want to be marketing. I already do that here at Meet Geraldine.
Yeah.
So my second thing that I think about when partnering with people is, do they have a following that they can market to? Because it's like, for me, even though I'm a marketer and I know what to do, I don't want to have that pressure that I'm the person who has to bring all of the customers and the people and have all the answers. So partnering with someone who already has the client base or the following and things like that makes it a lot easier and less pressure. Then I could just focus on doing what I do best, which is web, SEO, and anything together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I was going to give them one at a time, but I don't know. Should I? I don't know if, yeah, okay. I'm like, what's the rules?
There are no rules.
Just kidding. As an entrepreneur, that's what we like. So I guess the other things is, I think those are all of what you guys said is really good. And I would definitely say all those from a standpoint of, well, I'll say this, that I like one thing that we've done a lot of learning and studying about in this last year has been about passive income and just like how to generate it and like what are the ways that you can do that. Whether it be through buying real estate, renting out properties, doing the stock market or whatever. Another way, and the way that actually does really appeal to me, is investing in businesses to be able to get them, especially smaller ones that I think are solid. Like I would have invested in Geraldine and I at the beginning. Now, back
Can you
in
go
there.
back into
Sure. Yeah. Let's be clear. No, I'm not going to say that. Yeah. I was going to say I don't have millions of dollars to give right now. Yeah. But so with that being said, like I'm looking for people that are hungry, that have that entrepreneurial spirit, that are together, that kind of get it. They don't have to have everything perfect, but like we were saying, presentation really is
passionate about their business.
Yeah, and they are gonna, because that's what I would tell any entrepreneur that walks into my business as a client too. Like if they're gonna be doing their work, I don't feel the passion, I'll ask them like, are you, just out of curiosity, are you passionate about this? Why are you doing this? Because as we've stated time and time again, when the going gets tough, you better fucking be passionate about it. We just got barred from YouTube.
Yeah, no.
I think we cuss on YouTube.
Yeah, you can. We just can't be completely naked while we're cussing.
Oh, okay.
So
fully dressed.
Yeah, fully dressed, guys. Because it's really hard to work with the client if they're not passionate, because then you're sort of all of a sudden passionate about their business.
Well, it's funny when they turn. I have had that where I've almost had this like Aikido or a jujitsu where all of a sudden I'm supposed to be keeping the energy and the love up for them, and I'm like, I don't know. I have my own business. Yeah, I'm good. We have our own talk show that we like, so
we're good. Yeah. Another thing, a couple things. If you were to want to work with me, is being open to suggestions. So meaning that you have to get in a place in your life with your business where, because I know I was sort of like this for a while, because my business doesn't make me, right? I think about it this way, like entrepreneurs, we consider our businesses like our kids, our babies. And how much moms think their kid is like the most amazing kid in the world. And you're like, no, your kid actually is like a little piece of shit, but whatever. So moms get vicious. But so with your business as an entrepreneur, you think it's like your business is amazing. And did someone say hi? Okay, whatever. Hi. Okay. And so you think your business is like really amazing, and that everything you're doing is completely correct and everything is completely right, and you're just looking for people to help you do the day-to-day task, right? But here's the thing, things aren't going to be completely right and completely perfect with your business, because if they were, you wouldn't even be thinking of getting people to help you out, right? So you need to be open to suggestions, to other ideas, because a good consultant, whether that's a marketing consultant, a business consultant, even a coach, they want to help you grow. That's what they want to see. They don't want to hurt your business. If they're a good person and have a good heart, like none of us want to hurt your business. We want to help you grow. So you have to be in a good place with your business and in your personal life where you are willing to take suggestions and to take ideas and know that you don't know everything.
Well, just out of curiosity, because I know every coach has a different style. Some are more aggressive, some are pretty soft and just listen to you. Like what in general, when giving suggestions, so this can be either from the coach's perspective to the person receiving it, or a teammate, like what's a proper way to give recommendations or suggestions?
So I think it depends on the client, or I'm gonna reverse it. if you're working with me, and especially if you're working with me with like the magazine and things like that, I tell everyone I work with, even my husband knows this, and I had to teach him the saying because it's like a Southern saying, is like put a little honey on it, meaning if you're going to give some bad news, put a little sweet. And that's how I take news. Like, I do not work well when people are super aggressive or abrasive. I'm going to be like, back up. So even if they have great ideas, I'm like, relax. So you have to read the other person, because I have 3 younger siblings. So going back to this, and the way I give them advice differs because they have 3 different personalities. Some of them need it directly. Some I need to be like coaxing, like, you're amazing, but you know what? Maybe we could try this.
The sandwich method.
Yeah, the sandwich method. But you have to, while you're working with someone, read them out. And then maybe the first time you give advice, if it doesn't sink in, like let's say you do it really directly because you think they're pretty direct. Well, if they're direct to you, doesn't necessarily mean that they receive communication directly. So if
that's so important.
Yeah,
that's really important to say. I normally would think the opposite, actually.
Yeah.
Where I figure that I would treat people the way that they treat me because that must be how they want to be treated. I don't know, but it's true because I think I'm like that. Yes.
Yeah, it's like you. So even if you strike out the first time, then you learn from that first mistake and be like, okay, they needed that communication a little bit differently.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Communication studies majors, guys. So that's what I did for undergrad is I studied how to communicate with people.
Pat on the back.
Yeah, thank you. I picked the right major.
Well, what's if anybody out there watching us live would like to know anything that have any questions.
Yeah.
If you'd like to know anything, ask us.
Sorry, I'm like looking next to this laptop right here too, guys. Sorry.
But in the meantime, I guess, does anybody else want to throw a new topic into the fire?
I mean, we got some time. I guess so going back to communication, because with clients, and I think we've all worked with clients from different age groups or just different cultural backgrounds. We live in this day and age where everything is sort of digital, but how do you find the best way to communicate with your clients? And I'm talking like email, phone call, text message, even direct messaging. Like, I feel like that's always a weird thing of like, how can I communicate with my client with them getting the message, right? Because then they'll be like, well, let's
switch it up because let's talk about it again from the entrepreneurial standpoint rather than the coaching. Yeah. So as an entrepreneur, how about some tips about communicating with
people,
providers or people of different, like, I think particularly because we all work with technology and not everybody's tech savvy. What are some of the ways or questions that people can ask to make it what do we want to be asked to be able to help people?
I don't think I understand the question.
So we're talking about, I'm saying I think it's really important for us to be committed to this being a show for entrepreneurs. I think some of the feedback that we've talked about amongst ourselves is that it's very coach driven, which is great. Yeah. We can do that. But when people are looking on, like, they may not have that, how do you communicate with clients because they own a restaurant or they, I don't know. It's just like a different point of view. So instead, moving at like tips to entrepreneurs of how to communicate with maybe people who are in a more digital space, or I mean, I don't know if it was specifically around the topic of technology.
Well, I think that could be kind of a challenge if I think back to us owning our business and all the different types of people we communicate, or even from the other side, that gets the viewers and things like that. Email to me is really important because having documentation is, time after time, like the nature of conversations is that they disappear or that it's misinterpreted. It could be misinterpreted. So making sure that even if you choose to have a phone conversation so someone understands you, that there's an email follow-up, or you send an email and then have a conversation to clarify. because there's so many times where, things are just misunderstood, and then there's no paper trail. There's no like, oh, but you said this, and then you look back at your email and you didn't communicate with them a month or two ago. That's really difficult, especially when you have disagreements.
Yeah, I agree. Email is one of the best ways to communicate with a wide array of people. So I communicate a lot with like other content writers, so a lot of contributors or people that want to be interviewed for the magazine. And so my general rule of thumb is I send them an email with like all the information, whether that is, what kind of articles we're looking for, or if I'm interviewing them, list of like general questions, how the interview is going to go. Then like if they don't respond within like, I give everyone like 24, 48 hours to respond. If they don't respond right away, then that sort of gives me an indication that email is not the best way for them to, like, for me to give them information. So I don't call people. Like, calling.
Who calls people?
I know. Calling
is 1990.
I know. Calling people is like my last resort. And
you text them?
I text them. And that always, especially if they're just going to be, again, if they're writing or I'm interviewing them, people tend to respond really quickly to text messages. So I'll just text like, hey, sent you an email with all the details, blah, blah, quick, like hello and everything. So they could go back to that email and see all the details, because I know, like, maybe this is for me, maybe some people like text messages like this. I try to keep text message communication like short, sweet and short, like sweet and simple, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm not going to send you what I was going to write in this email, like a 2-paragraph text message, right? I'm not 16 years old and we're not breaking up, right? So it's just like this text message is not going to people break up on text nowadays. Okay. So it's like, I'm not sending this long essay to you guys. I send it to you via email. And so, and also the email, like a lot of things that I deal with, like documents that I have to send them, everything like that, it's easier for me to send that way. Some people, now that if you're dealing with young millennials, or what's the generation after? Generation Z, I think that's a letter. Okay. They also maybe don't check email as often or check text messages as often. So I've had some people that I'm interviewing or I'm collaborating with that are a little bit younger. They're like in their early 20s. So I've had to like actually send business messages on Instagram messages. And in that thing, I'm like, sent you an email with all the details, check it out. And sometimes if they're young, I'll just send them like a video message like, hey girl, like check out your email, talk to you later. But you have to figure out how they're going to take that information. But I try to funnel everyone back to the email because I want it all to be documented there. I'm not going to follow you around.
Yeah.
There were some businesses that I wanted to maybe work with or tell their story, but they're like family owned and they're a little bit older. So those are the businesses that, even though their website isn't the best website, had an email address, and no one really checks that email if it's info@, like it's like no really.
Or that's their main one, and they for their personal one.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, I'll email them, and then I realize I'm gonna have to call them because they don't have any social media presence, or I get it, like and it's just like, okay, I'll call you, but I always feel like calling a business owner, like I'll try to call them like during the week at like a low time, like be mindful of their business. Like if their business is a restaurant, I'm not going to call them on a Friday at 6, but yeah, it's figuring out different ways to communicate with people. It's always a little bit tricky. And then figuring out how to communicate with them, like what to put in that message, what to say, so that way they don't interpret your tone.
I mean, with business, it's just best always to just keep it business. You know, have the templated ways that you say things. A huge help for us has been Google canned responses. So on Gmail, you can actually go on and put a canned response for any possible thing that you do. And that way your language is always uniform. It also helps for, oh, you didn't say that to me. You're like, well, I kind of did. And, and just, so I think that's a lot of technology. Now, though, we're getting into the place where like older people now are people who have we've been using technology for 20 years now.
Yeah.
So like that idea that like old people don't touch technology, that's just almost obsolete at this point, especially in business. I mean, still, of course, there's always people that really took on that belief for themselves, or people that had any kind of like, they just in general kind of feel a little against technology in general. But yeah, I think that I was thinking about that. It's just like, you never saw old people with tattoos, and now there's going to be hella tattoos everywhere. Like droopy earlobes for different reasons. So
my goal is to have 10 actually.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's like an even number in my head, so I feel like I should get to that point. Side note, guys, I feel like I should get 10. So I think just learning how to communicate with people, and then always. So one thing I use is, like, if you are like me, so I'm a writer, but I am not an editor. So my grammar is horrible and my spelling is horrible. So I use Grammarly that's attached to my email and to my phone just to help with general, like, this should have a comma and stuff like that, if you are a little nervous about that. Also, if you're constantly sending like emails out that have like the same tone, create like an email template for yourself that has like everything. So I have one where I send out to like a business that is brand new, sort of like a cold email that I want to work with. So that way it's always the same. I change it up, like change their name and change what I want from them.
But it's the same as the canned responses.
Yeah. So
that's through Grammarly?
No, this I just wrote out myself, like on a Google Doc, and it has like all the information I need, like what is the magazine, what am I looking for from you, what I could provide from you, blah blah blah. So it's all this, and then I could just like copy and paste kind of thing.
We should we should teach you how to do the canned responses, because you do that in Gmail.
Yeah, it just automatically populates it.
Yeah. So there you go. There's something new.
Yeah, and worst practice is, like Nicole was saying earlier, don't send really, really, really long text messages and photos of things to whoever you're working with, because like with text messages, everything gets really lost, especially for other people's workflows. Like for me, it really interrupts my workflow when clients or anyone else will send tons of information by text, because it gets separated into like 5 text messages.
Yeah, because there's always that disconnect of like someone sending it from like Android to iPhone or something. So sometimes like the text messages could come out of order, and you're just like, okay, I'm done reading this.
And then my workflow is usually via email.
Yeah.
So like sometimes there have been occasions in the past where clients are like, oh, but I sent that to you. I'm like, you did? I don't see it in my email. They're like, I texted it to you. I'm like, oh, and then you got to go back and find it or have them resend it. It's just, it kind of is a time waste.
I have a hard time too doing any kind of scheduling over text, because you can't save on mine. You can't save the text message to be unread like you can in email. So I'll look at it, and then it's not even, if I was in the middle of doing something and I looked at it, or I'm not in front of my calendar, so to go back and forth is like on the phone, it's always hard for me to schedule.
Yeah. What's that app or whatever you guys use for your calendar? What's it called?
Doodle?
No, it's another one, like Calendly or
Calendly.
Yeah, there we go. It's like there we go. So you guys can use that, or you can use Doodle, and especially when you're sending out an email to someone and you're trying to schedule a time to meet.
So much easier.
So much easier, because we've all been in that situation where you're like sending 10 emails to figure out a time.
Yeah, doodle.com. It's group scheduling. Everybody goes on. They put their little their availability. You offer up the times. They say what, and then you can see who has the most. It's so easy. Yeah. Whoever taught me that, I thank them. It was at school, during school.
Yeah, it is super easy. So I think we're going to wrap it up now, guys. All right. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Really hope you appreciate this little fireside chat. Our regular scheduled program will be starting next month, but let us know if there's any other things you guys want to hear from us. If you guys want to see us more live, let us know. Any questions. We love answering your questions. So thank you guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you later.
Okay, we're getting real close to you guys to end it. There it is.